that we're
We're
saying
live,
this.
so
We're
Oh.
live.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
joy.
Why do you're so bad at this?
So nice.
You never tell me. All right. Hello. Welcome to the Simple Things. One day I'll get an actual intro and know my lines. Never, probably.
Probably never.
I
At
am
least you're
Cookie
honest.
Swagger. Yeah, I'll always be honest on that front. I suck. Um, I am Cookie Swagger, one of your hosts. Hello, hi. I know you missed me. And then across from me is, of course, my other co-host, Juice, who made our lovely avatars. Yay!
Hello. You probably don't miss me.
Oh my God, you're so dramatic.
I gotta play devil's advocate.
No, you don't.
I'm not advocating for anything.
It's the Simp channel. We're not devil. Well, I guess some of these we might have to fight for. But not this one.
Oh.
And then we have one returning guest, and then we also have we have people. Okay, let's go with the returning guest, NPC Joe. Say hi.
It is little old me yet again.
Why do you make it sound like a threat?
I didn't mean it to come out like that.
When it's
I think
Joe,
it
it's
is.
an threat.
Wow. You know what, Juice? You and I are going to have some words at the end of this.
To be fair, Joe's harmless.
Words at the end of this.
To be
Yeah.
fair, Joe's harmless.
Words at the end
And
of
then
this.
we have kind of two new birds. You saw Phoenix on the last one. Phoenix is our tech bird, and he's actually going to have to talk today.
Shocking, I know. It's the weirdest thing to actually hear the tech person not being a tech person for once.
And then we have this fucking thing.
Hello.
Wow.
Hi, everyone. Great introduction. Around about what I deserve.
This is Nia, one of our friends. D&D, yeah, all the good stuff. He is the epitome of I'll fuck it to dragons. Like,
Unfortunately,
As soon as I saw-
dragons never return the favor.
Yeah.
So
as soon as I saw that Dragonborn was winning, which was like 2 minutes after the poll went live, I was like, okay, we're having Neon.
I mean, there was no other choice.
There was no other choice. But
yeah.
I'm that guy.
also,
I wear that badge with pride.
I kind of find funny. We have essentially production on the left and then talent on the right.
Wow,
You know,
talent.
We
Yeah,
try.
The fact that you call me talent is
Yeah.
it's actually a gross overestimation of my abilities.
I'm talented at being a bitch. All right, but I'm just. Anyway.
God, are you sure?
Yeah,
you sure we're talent after that?
Yeah. Hey. All right.
My talent is what's on the screen.
Plot twist, I'm the bitch.
Yeah, how dare you? You can't take this fucking title from me, you son of a bitch. I will
It's all
kill
I got.
you. Alright, anyway, today is our Dragonborn episode. Yay! Confetti! I'll get that one day.
No.
The
One of
these days I'll
that
make a
requires too
full-
much technical work. We'll
One
get there.
of these days I'll make a full animated intro and
Yeah. Like 5 years? No, I'm just kidding.
5 years.
It'll be
I
there
mean-
one
Alright.
day.
But, yeah.
As long as I'm fed, I can get it done.
Fair enough.
This is a machine that turns food into animated stuff in a time frame.
Hell yeah. But before we go off the rails of two, like, we're crackhead already, but that's perfect. That's great. This is what we want, right? Probably. I don't know.
This isn't a railroad yet.
I'm going to drive us off a cliff. Anyway, let's get this started before I actually set this place on fire. So, a little bit about Dragonborns. I feel like they're like the staple child of D&D, right? Like, if you know D&D, you know Dragonborns. If you don't know Dragonborns or D&D, you know dragons. And Dragonborns are basically just humanoid dragons. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
pretty
that's
put
easy. They
yeah.
come in different colors. They have different flavors. Wait,
I
I mean,
mean,
yeah.
it, you just had to try them all, figure out which one you like.
yeah,
yeah.
they all taste around the same.
I can't say that. Intrusive thought almost blurred it
I
came out.
know. Yeah. Pat, pat.
Friends brothers.
I was
Hey,
about to get us kicked off Twitch.
hey, we're past the 5 minute mark. We
Whoa.
can say what we want in the YouTube
Speedrun.
video.
Is that how that works on Twitch?
Not on Twitch,
Anytime
on
that you
YouTube,
mention, anytime that you mention something of that level of detail, I always feel like I'm out of place here.
No, shush is fine. But let's start with our first question. And it's basically our staple question to like start it off, dip our toe into things. Why do you find Dragonborns attractive? What's the appeal in your opinion?
maybe. Anyone want to field this first?
Oh, okay.
That's the awkward pause.
I'll dip my toe in first. It's a little hot.
Wonderful.
So,
It's
no,
scalding. I take hot showers.
I have my shower to the max on heat typically.
Good God. I don't know how to follow up that one actually. So the question is about like what has attracted us to them, or what has made us interested in them.
Uh, yep.
Yeah. Is that the question?
Yes, that's the question. Go
Yes,
ahead.
that's the
Okay,
question.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say.
No, do you want like a essay, like an essay prompt?
Yes. Sorry. Could I get that in a different context, please?
Can
All
can
right.
have that in a
Here.
sentence, please?
Yeah. Here's
Could-
another.
could you
Here's another
define
way
it,
to
please?
phrase it. Why do you want to fuck them? Is that good?
Well, now my answer starts slipping out of the question. I mean, anyone who watched the last episode, I said this before and I'll say it again. Different color, in the terms of physical design, always interests me. Like different color eyes, different color skin, even different designs that aren't the normal average, because it creates that sort of same feeling as when something is new and something is fresh. And when I first got into fantasy as a whole genre, it was the lizard folk, the dragonborn sort of style that I really looked into, that really fascinated me, because they were the ones that didn't look so boringly human. And I know that when it comes to elf, I'm gonna have to pass it up, because people are I'm gonna look at people and people are gonna just go, "You couldn't appreciate it." And I'm sorry, I don't. At least with like going back to the dwarves, they actually have some physical differences, and I know I'm probably going to get hate for this, but lizard people are probably some of the most visually different representations within fantasy races, and I love them for it. Being someone who actually does like enjoy the concepts of dragons, and having it that like when I was a kid, I first saw a humanoid dragon, it blew my freaking mind. And so ever since then, they've just been a fascination to me. When I first played Skyrim, I played as an Argonian, something that I might get into a little bit later. But the reason why that they drew me into is because they're an interesting design. They're not the normal human, and I think dwarf is the only like human-like race I've been all that interested in. Because almost every other race, Cookie, you'll probably know because I talk about it so much, is celestial, demonic, or lizard-like. So it's different. They have more interesting racial abilities, and when you look at them, you feel like, okay, this is definitely a fantasy race. There's something both biological and mystical or magical about them. So that it's sort of almost they're teeming with new things for you to explore in the terms of visual design, storytelling, and physical attraction.
So to summarize, see the rainbow, taste the rainbow.
I mean,
I don't know. We might get actually. Oh God.
I mean, sometimes that's all you need. That's the only reason you need. Do you like colorful things?
I might say something that might get you guys demonetized here, but
So we mute Joe.
if they're all different flavors, I'm ready for that sweetness.
Oh.
Anyway.
Wow. Wonderful.
What?
Okay.
Those
Great way to
responses
start.
are always so thought out.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
This
There-
is why I
there's-
want to go first because I stunned everyone last
There
time.
we go.
I mean, that's kind of the joy of it. You get to hear the most elaborate response, and then it just gets because they're hot.
Yeah, they're
Hey.
hot, you
Yeah.
know?
Hey, don't
I
call me
like-
out.
They're
More-
a lot of
more and more
Dragonborns are
things.
depicted as buff. I like it. I like a lot of like the gruffer Dragonborn designs. You know, I could just hoard them like a dragon.
Mm.
Why not just be a part of their horde? That it's
that's
easier that
also
way.
an option. Polyamory is an option,
Can't it be both?
Yeah,
but yeah,
Keep up public appearances, and you can be a part of Horden now. Privacy of your own bedroom.
So Neo, I guess we can just continue down the line. Neo.
Okay. Well, starting off, I don't have dog points. It sounds like I do, but I assure you, I am not that prepared. Let's just get the simple thing out of the way. Tails, scales, maws, and claws. I don't think I need to elaborate further. I'm
Wow.
not coming out
You
of
know-
this shit scratched, bitten, and cut. No point.
Jesus. I mean, I guess that works. That's one way to. That.
do you have that on a fucking T-shirt? God
I
damn.
do not. Unfortunately, no.
no, they have it on
We
their
can
hat.
get it when we start fucking doing merch.
Yeah, we're making merch.
Jesus.
Available
Whatever
now
that
on some shirt website. I don't know the shirt websites, unsurprisingly. And then getting to the actual thing, like the tails, scales, maws, and claws applies for a lot of things. Lizard folk, a lot of the other sort of races like that. Lizard folk, kobold, any of those other things. But I think a part of it is also just the dragon. The dragons carry so much fucking weight with them in fantasy. You can barely read one like high fantasy book where they're not some sort of ultra special super race.
That's descended from dragons that like carries all the best features of them. Kind of what I was gonna say was literally one of the biggest noting points of dragons is they're often able to shapeshift into humans or like various other races and are seen as generally either like destroying of humans or very seductive of humans. So it's the idea that there's the offspring of one of them that kind of carries that still. I wouldn't even call it horny energy, but that's the best thing I can think of to describe it. So it's just like
It's the Zeus energy.
yeah, well,
Oh no.
not that level.
Not Zeus energy. Greek god energy. Let's just go with Zeus
Still not great, but
Still not good.
I don't know how I
Yeah.
feel about that one,
Yeah,
but
we're gonna write.
we get the sentiment
Dionysus.
behind
All
it.
Yes,
right, it's a
Dionysus
different.
did.
All right. The gods were fucked. Let's just
Yeah.
leave it at that.
Yeah,
Except for Hades. I respect only one.
Hades is like the only good one.
Yes.
So
We're not
in the
gonna-
game- in the game,
we're not
Hades
gonna
is
go
the
into
one
that.
that
That'll be a topic for another time.
Uh,
But
God,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think me and Nia have the same kind of mindset as like dragons being like these mystical, powerful, almighty things, and you're telling me there's a humanoid version of that? Please,
Yes, give me all that now.
all that yesterday.
All the
All
good
of
parts
that,
in one
yes.
convenient humanoid package.
Mm.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
something to say there, Cookie?
Oh. I find everything hot. Don't look. I'm simple. I think Dragonborns are neat because like you guys are saying, like they're descended from dragons, and then some Dragonborns that appear to be Dragonborns are actually dragons. So hey, maybe bonus points, you fuck a dragon. Like, I don't know. They look
That's
nice.
the goal.
I know that's your goal, and you keep fumbling the bag.
That bag has been rolling downhill ever since, and I don't think it's gonna stop.
It's Sisyphus in his boulder, and I'm not fucking stopping anytime soon.
I don't think Greece even has dragons. Why do we keep going back to Greece?
I mean, they do.
Why not?
Greece
No,
is dragon.
Sisyphus. No, that's the punishment is the boulder keeps rolling up, but then the boulder always comes back down. And I liked his joke. That was actually a really good one.
I know.
But Greece had dragons. Like there are several mythological Greek dragons. But
I guess I'm just not
yeah.
familiar.
That's not the topic.
Actually,
yeah,
that's a good
it's not
point.
the.
They're fucking everywhere. Dragons are everywhere.
Yeah,
They are so ingrained in literally every culture. Well, most
Yeah.
cultures is probably
So
the
that's
term,
kind of
but
why. That's kind
the
of why people.
majority.
I mean, they're in basically every culture. I don't think there's one that they're
in
absent
some
from.
form.
So that just kind of explains like humanity in one capacity always just looks at lizard dragon thing and is like, I want that somewhere in my mythology. Generally very attractive.
Ah,
Humanity
Those
just
are
likes.
maybe
so-
aliens were dragons.
I mean-
Anyway,
God, don't give me hope.
So this is why humanity has a fetish for dragons.
I also like, with Dragonborns you can have variety, like whether if you can flavor them with like wings, tails. Obviously, with all the different mythologies of dragons, there's several different types of dragons
Yeah.
that you could style them after.
Plus,
Yeah,
there's a lot of different horn styles too, depending on
there is a lot of different horn styles.
handlebars.
And again, with with dragons being essentially in most like a symbol of like strength and sometimes wisdom, I love a good top.
Okay.
God.
oh god. Oh,
I guess it's also the
interesting.
opposite to that, because they're the symbols of absolute, power and wisdom. So going the other way around is the ultimate form of dominance. You're taking that for your own.
Look,
Yeah, fuck your history and culture. Not anymore.
Oh,
No
god.
longer that powerful little dragon.
I'm a dumb fuck, and I'd love them to educate me.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Dude, I'm an innocent little bean, says shit like this on the daily.
Yeah,
Alright.
pretty much only on the stream, but yeah.
I was
Sure,
going to say,
sure.
Either way.
this is the time where it unleashes.
Yeah. But because you were getting into variation, I actually have the question written out. Like, what's your favorite variation of Dragonborn? Like, red, copper, amethyst, or
That's a hard one. That's genuinely I have to pick now between.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the first one to say anything. I like any of the crystal gems because I like shiny.
Garnet, pearl,
So,
amethyst.
I actually have two answers for this one. The first one is anything to do with gemstones is great, but if I had to pick, I'd have to say sapphire.
Oh yeah,
Well,
Because-
that is a gem dragon.
Yep.
It's just because that you could then say they are both based on a gem, and you can also call them an azure dragon, which, by the way, is something incredibly weeby to say if you know anything about azure dragons.
You are a resident weeb.
I am the resident weeb. I might be wrong, but I rarely am the. Yeah, there's very little people who want to talk to me about animus, so I'm going to move on. And the other one is actually I've always loved gold, because I think that it sort of symbolizes the chromatic aspect, whilst also seemingly become quite it's both the chromatic aspect of gold is the rarest, rarest material. Obviously, people can say, "Oh, yeah, but platinum or something else like that." It's also because it is the most dragon thing to be a dragon that has golden scales and also has a hoard of gold. I will say I do like red dragons, but I always find them a lot more basic in my personal taste. But I will say,
classic.
if I was to go the most basic out of basic dragon colors, and y'all can all give me crap for this, it's either pure white or pure black dragons that just have always fascinated me, because that design of purely just jet black or pure white has always been that sort of weird concept of, it's almost like yin and yang. So that's always been fascinating to me.
Yeah, that and alchemy. A lot of alchemy uses dragons, and especially the white and black ones. Like,
yes,
yeah, I was also gonna say white and black are my favorites. Just I like the color combinations. I know nothing about like which color does what breath weapon, and
I mean, I could inform you. I have.
Yeah, you can.
I know all.
You have the book.
Yes, that is my purpose. That's why the tech bird is here.
But
to list off Dragonborn breaths and resistance.
I know
Thank you
very little about like especially in D&D, like what dragons colors have like what traits and usual personality. I know like the white ones are horny.
No,
am I thinking about?
You're thinking of you're thinking of silver dragons, which are very horny for humanoids.
Yeah.
Usually you don't phrase it like that, but yeah.
I'll give before Phoenix can talk. I know some dragon stuff, and white dragons are actually like the ice breath weapons, and I believe black is poison.
Acid.
Fuck.
Is it poison or is it?
It's acid.
Acid, right? Yeah.
So white is cold, black is acid, green is poison, red is fire, and blue is lightning.
Lightning, yeah.
And
I believe copper is also fire. No, wait, no, copper is acid.
I'm pretty sure copper is acid.
Yeah, it's acid.
Yeah, I was a little confused because we met in the last campaign. We did meet a very large copper worm that had like time acid or something.
Yes, that's an aspect of very powerful coppers. Is one of their breaths, instead of just spitting acid, has a slowing effect.
It's oxidizing.
I mean, it's kind of the point. All metallics have a secondary effect.
Oh, I also have the gym dragons up if you guys want me to let you know what their stuff is.
Yeah, theirs is very fun. They get some funky ones.
They get some cool ass fucking weapons.
Yeah, they do. Amethyst dragons do force damage. Crystal dragons do radiant damage. Emeralds do psychic damage. Sapphire does thunder damage, and Topaz does necrotic.
If I have to pick, my favorites for Dragonborn and just dragons in general have always been Topaz and blue dragons, simply for the fact that like lightning and deserts always go exceptionally well because you don't ever see them together, but that's exactly where you find blues most commonly is deserts. So the visual aspect of a dragonborn or even dragon calling lightning and being an emissary of lightning in a place where storms cannot form is just such an awesome aesthetic. And additionally, that's just hot. Power is very attractive, and that type of power is.
It's kind of interesting. This is kind of off topic, but it's interesting to me that a lot of media does have like lightning and the desert connected.
Well, I mean, it's kind of
I think it's because lightning, where in IRL, lightning and sand connecting together forms glass.
Yeah, that's how we make it. Actually,
super conducting
sand.
There is actually three reasons for this. The first one is because in deserts, it's usually considered that deserts are very hot, and you actually get a phenomenon called heat lightning, where lightning storms happen because of the intense heat. The second reason is because sand, when it kicks around, actually creates it can actually create or mix together a lot of the static electricity and build it up to actually cause further charges in the areas. And the last one is, do you know what a sand that was turned into crystals or glass is called when it's struck by lightning?
I believe I've heard it before, but I cannot remember off the top of my head.
I know what it is, but I want to see if anyone else knows it before I say.
It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't. Yeah.
I have no idea. I got most of my information
begins-
from like fucking Sweet Home Alabama.
It begins with an F. I'll say that. It begins with an F.
I'm blanking.
Fiberglass?
No.
No. Fulgurite. It is fulgurite. Fulgurite, I believe. Fulgurite.
Interesting.
Like the coffee?
No.
Fulgus?
No.
Fulgurite in your cup.
So, fulgur itself actually is from the Latin term of electricity or lightning. So fulgurite is supposed to be the crystallized version of lightning. It was actually stated, it's a really old term as well. Fulgurite is also known as where the desert was touched by the smiting of God, which is why it's that concept of lightning is also considered to be with the deserts. And why lightning is a lot to do with like sand and glass and stuff, because of those sort of it's sort of almost thematic relevance.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, we very much got off topic because I mentioned I like blue Dragonborn.
Well, you know who lives in the desert? Lizards. And you know what lizards are? Very close to Dragonborn. There we go. We roped it back in.
I don't know about all that.
Ooh, let's
But
go.
as I mentioned, the other one being topaz dragons. Topaz being one of the gems, which is always very fun. The fact that their breath is a dehydration breath, which is such an interesting departure from all of the others, is again just like the most odd thing to try to visualize, but also in the same way that I find blues like power of lightning in a place where there should not be lightning normally, but explained by Joe. It's just a very odd, like, that's oddly attractive, just seeing the demonstration of power that could not be used in a way that definitely shouldn't be.
It's not considered forceful destruction. It's almost special in the way in which that it works. A person could breathe this breath, and instead of showing massive scale of destruction, it just affects people in a unique way that other breaths don't.
You could say it leaves you breathless.
It's also fucking terrifying. The idea of like pissing someone off, they breathe at you and then you fucking die of dehydration. Is
you literally
wilt. Scary.
You just wilt away like nothing.
Yeah. Don't bump into one at the store. Fucking
I actually
bad idea there.
Nia, did you ever say what yours was?
I did not, but I like coppers because they're goofy.
Yeah,
You know, I like a clown. I like a funny guy.
I mean,
also-
Clown College treated you real nice.
Yeah. Also, you know, it's copper is close to my IRL hair color, so there's that as well. And I used to play a lot of copper Dragonborns, simply because of that.
And then you met one. You met a copper dragon in my world.
I did, and he was so nice. He was a great guy. Kind of sad that he would have hated a member in our party and probably would have killed them. But you know, great guy otherwise.
They did have at least a decent reason.
Yeah, they had a really valid reason. I think being absolutely fucking maimed by them was a good reason enough to hate someone. But you know, I hope he's doing well.
Either way,
I'm not gonna meet him.
Back to topic at hand.
On someone where he lived. Wild Magic Desert, wonderful.
Yeah, thanks Wild Magic Desert for stealing half my fucking height.
Pebbles would move there if Fen ever allowed it.
Either way, we should get back to the topic at hand.
I think everyone did.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, we went around the table.
I think so.
Yeah.
I did crystals because shiny.
Is there any particular crystal? Oh, crystal. Like
oh no, the
crystal.
Yeah. Because it's the closest to opal that I could like in my eye because crystal is like more the white and then the radiant thing. I don't know. Fucking get her under a disco, like make her a disco ball and just spin her, you know?
Lady of the Gala.
Yeah.
Yeah, they open
like-
their wings in the sunlight and you get that really cool fractal effect in the
Yeah.
That's
I think that'd be really cool, especially like if you think of it like in terms of like that would obviously have to be like the queen, you know, because just like spreading her wings and just like getting under the sun and everything, and even under the moonlight, I feel like crystal dragons are just mwah.
the funny
They-
thing.
Yeah.
The funny thing that you mention about that is their breath weapon actually uses color as like how it actually does damage. It's literally using the refraction of light as how it causes damage.
Yeah.
So cool.
I-
That is so
I
cool.
saw I saw the
Absolutely
radiant
dragon.
tag. I figured.
Yeah.
They open their wingspan and you just get it's like being under a magnifying glass.
Oh no.
Prismatic power.
Just say you get like a younger one, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna treat you like a fucking ant.
Oh,
Put you under a
no.
microscope.
That's for the sociopaths. Anyway, let's go on to the next question. Do you count Dragonborns from Skyrim as Dragonborn?
I mean,
Ooh.
descendant
Listen.
of dragons technically counts even if they don't have scales. Like, you don't necessarily need to have scales to be a dragonborn, but it adds so much to it.
Here's a funny thing about Dragonborns and Skyrim lore, because this is something I know very well. This is something I know very well. They aren't descended from dragons at all. Dragons are essentially the children of the god Akatosh, who is the god of time. Don't ask me why he also makes the dragons, and don't ask me what the dragons have to do with time. But
There's a really they loop around.
Yeah, but the Dragonborns themselves, who are also sort of dragon blood, the lore is weird because the Tiber Septim was technically a Dragonborn, but he was also called Dragon Blood. But they aren't at all related or descended to dragons. Dragons cannot breed at all. They're all dudes, and also they just can't do that. But it's literally just Akatosh looking at some guy and saying, "You know what? I like his vibe." I don't know why he sounds like that. You're gonna have a fucking dragon soul now, buddy. And it's like, okay, cool. So they have special authority from a god to use the voice, essentially. They're gods chosen rather than being descendants from dragons, even though the god that chooses them is
the one that made the dragons.
God of dragons. Yeah.
They confirm two big things in that lore. They actually state that although that you have the soul of a Dover, it is not something that is what is it? It's not something that is oh my gosh, I can't remember the word for it. It's not something that you get through your descendants. So your father could be a dragonborn, or your mother, and you could be born without any capability of using the voice or even any capability of having Dover abilities. You also are still able to have a normal-ish life, but as you stated, it's legitimately just Dragonborn are just randomly chosen. There's no actual logic to it other than this, Akatosh just going, meh, I like him.
Apart from the Tiber Septim line, they're sort of special because the Septims are special little fucks. But even then, I don't think in Oblivion, the Emperor that got murked, I don't think they were a Dragonborn. I just think that Sean Bean was. Sean Bean was dragon-blooded, which is why he turned into a massive fucking dragon.
It's always Sean Bean.
But yeah, it's
always
Sean Bean. It is Sean Bean, right?
I actually, no. I think are you talking about? No, I can't. I can't remember.
I don't know. It's
Let's
a guy
not get
who
too
always
off
dies.
topic.
Anyway, in all technicality, Dragonborn is more of a title than actually being born of dragon, and I don't count them because of that.
It's the closest thing to it. They say that you have a soul of it. It's not that's physically.
I was gonna raise that point where, like, if you have the soul of a dragon in you, and you're humanoid, I feel like that would count to some degree.
Yeah, true. You
For
could say that,
but not visually.
But usually, at least from every single Dragonborn we've seen, they don't have anything that acts like a dragon. They aren't influenced by their, nature as a Dovahkiin at all. Because dragons are kind of little fucks.
I mean, I would argue
they are
that...
tied to their nature, and the only person... Oh, sorry for interrupting, but the only person who ever escaped it was Parthenax, because he is a fucking monk and figured that shit out. So,
well, actually, I was going to say one thing
let
to
Cookie
get.
speak?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I would argue, since you just said dragons were little fucks, I've seen how my siblings play it as a Dovahkiin. You guys are little fucks.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen the shit you do.
I also
I
have a stupid question as someone who has never played any of the Skyrim series.
Elder Scrolls.
So is there multiple Dragonborns at a time, or is it like an Avatar situation?
There can be. There's no limitation.
Kind of just depends.
Yeah, it depends on how he feels at the time, and then I guess Mirak is kind of a
well, he's dead at the time.
Exception.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he's technically dead.
I was actually going to say
he's owned by Hermias Mora. So.
I was actually going to say something though that actually does get it back to the Dragonborn and Dragonkin concept, which is technically going off into it. The closest that you have to lizard folk in that is the Argonians, the kin of the Hist. They are legitimately almost in every shape and form like Dragonborns in most usual things, except from one addition, which is they have tails because they're more supposed to be based off of different types of lizards. So some of them might be salamanders, some of them might be geckos, some of them might be based on just straight up like Komodo dragons. But you can be a Dragonborn with their blood, and so that's probably the closest that you could get to somewhat having certain aspects of the powers of the dragon in there, whilst also having some form similar to almost dragon kind. But I think those are the only ones that are the closest visually. If that answers the question in any way, shape, or form.
Look, I was just asking for your guys' opinion. I was stirring the pot, okay?
Yeah, stirring the pot. Didn't expect such a heated debate. Unfortunately, I have no life and know a little bit too much about the Elder Scrolls, which puts a whole wrench in this pot because I know a little bit too much about the Elder Scrolls.
On the subject of Dragonborns with tails, I think it'd be really funny if anytime a party retreats from the battle and there's a Dragonborn, they just drop their tail and
drop their tails and grows back next long rest.
Yeah.
Free food if you're really hungry.
I mean,
all right. What?
No, it's all good.
Okay. Well, thank you for the debate. It sounds like one person feels more strongly than the rest of us.
I had no clue what's going on.
But yeah, let's move on to this next one. With Dragonborns being descendants of dragons, do you see them more as warriors or wise sorcerers? Basically, what class do you lean towards with them?
Honestly, 50-50.
It depends on the color and the vibe, I guess. I always lean towards magic casters, if you couldn't tell. So I'd say more magic, but then again, it really depends on the type.
while
I'd say stuff like, I'm sorry.
I I was just gonna say, like, while there's the proclivity towards like martial adeptness, I don't really associate that with Dragonborn. Them being generally descended of dragons, I find the innate attunement to magic that dragons have to just be like the natural driving force that at least in my opinion, all Dragonborn should have a proclivity towards any sort of magical casting, be it innate, learned, made a deal with something, calling into the spirits of nature or the gods themselves, be it dragon or otherwise. It just finds me the more attractive option simply for the fact of like you're born from something of magic and being able to call on not just your born magic, but magic that you find for yourself through your own means. That's what strikes me.
I, for some reason, when I think Dragonborn, the first class that comes to my mind is Paladin.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it's kind of just like the middle section of both caster and martial.
Battle mage, basically, kind of sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I will
also,
say,
I guess a good point is the sorcerer thing. Like, the main sorcerer sort of subclass is the dragon one, so that's sort of a thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it has to come. It has to come from somewhere. So,
the one I would have said is probably monk, only because it's sort of combining that sort of like personal energy system, similar to ki and magic. So having that, also having the physical aspects, because dragons are magical, but also by nature they have thick scales, incredibly strong physical forms, and they are in all sorts of different mythology. As soon as they have the ability of flight, they are considered the apex creature because they are able to fly. They are able to bite through almost anything, able to claw through almost anything, break through almost anything through their tremendous strength. And they are considerably imposing creatures. And I kind of feel like having the monk system where you still get that innate power, but it has to be something that they have to train with. I don't think that it's the perfect and only way to go, but I think that it's somewhat fascinating. There is also a really cool concept where you could potentially do a Black Clover with it and have it where you're a Dragonborn with no ability or affinity with magic, and you just have to fight purely with non-magical weapons, or at the very least, any of your magical weapons or items have to be made by others for you to be able to fight in a magical world. Because I think that would be quite fascinating to have it that you are born from this descent, but it's almost you're cast away because despite your birth, you have no magical innate abilities. They work in any which way is what I'm sort of getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely get the more magic lean though. It's just that, the idea of a big fucking dragonborn punching the shit out of you is also kind of cool. So
it's kind of like, as Fox has said in chat, dragons are very prideful. It's kind of like, I would see Dragonborns as like essentially the Leonins. If we were going to like Leonins and Tabaxi, I'd consider them more like the Leonins, like a lion, like proud kind of symbol.
Yeah.
Compared to like lizard folk in Dragonborns. Which is also probably why I see Paladin, because as Fox has stated in the chat, very proud class usually.
I mean, you have to swear an oath and abide by it. You have to have some manner of pride to it to make such an oath that's binding enough to give you magic.
It's also a very good way to reason for fighter and monk classes, because usually martial arts is a very
mystical thing.
There is an honor to it. There is a lot of sort of fair fight sort of shit in it. There's a lot of dishonorable, or really like, don't fight dirty is the point in a lot of them, because it is an art. It's martial arts, so a part of it is, that honor of fighting fair and beating the opponent with purely skill, rather than dirty tactics like throwing dirt in people's eyes or lazy donkey rolling and stuff like that. And then, fighter is also a good version of it. Very sort of the Western ideal of the knight of, I'm this very prideful creature. I wield the sword for good, or very much just like I'm an honest fighter who does it for the art of it or for the fun of it. And the sort of that honor and pride to me is very important because if you beat me, you destroy my pride as a weaponsman or other good terms for it. So I think that would also fit very well. Because while magicians do have their pride, I think like a lot of them more have pride in their magic rather than the battle of it. So if you beat one in battle, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I guess my magic wasn't good enough, and they'd be fine with running away because they do have a lot of teleport spells. So but I can see, especially for stuff like martial artists, it's very much the fight is what they live for, and if they have that pride, and if they're defeated, then that's fucking devastating because their pride is gone. So that's a good reason for them to be martial artists or other martial classes.
What about our lovely host?
Oh, look, you guys keep throwing around pride and stuff, but we also gotta remember that sometimes dragons are sneaky little bitches. So I think I lean more towards like a wizard or something along those lines because yeah, the pride of the battle, blah blah blah. A dragon doesn't want to fucking get got by a like human, so like that's generally like they regroup, and then make a plan for you. So I feel like wizards is like more what I would think a dragonborn would go for, just to tap into their potential.
It also makes sense based on their collective knowledge as well, like because what's the average lifespan of a dragonborn? Does anyone know?
No idea off the top of my head, but D&D changed it to where at least people that was 80 years old now live to 100 years old. So I don't I
think it's probably just like average human lifespan.
Yeah, they like the human lifespans.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Just thinking about like not a dragonborn, but just a dragon that has like full levels in rogue.
God.
I mean, that'd be really fun to see an arcane trickster one. So just cast greater invisibility and get sneak attacks on its bite or claws every round. That would just be terrifying.
I don't get any ideas.
Yeah, I should stop giving you ideas.
I mean,
you
don't need to give me ideas.
If any of us.
I've already given you enough my character's backstory. You don't need more.
I mean, I have enough dragons in my world of varying levels.
Make a few more.
Oh no!
You never have enough dragons.
Alright. I think everyone answered that pretty well. Besides me, I gave very little. I didn't write an essay. But moving on to the next question. With dragons generally having the old typing of chromatic representing evil and metallic representing good, did that ever play into how you would play your dragonborns?
I'll actually say yes. I've played a couple Dragonborn, and there were, in a couple of old settings where I was just the player, actually having a metallic dragon being the good guy is so fun, but at the same time having a chromatic one that is actually a good person and is just having to endure people assuming just off-site, oh, they're evil because they have they're chromatic, and being able to prove they are better than what you think of them is such a really cool concept to me. And being able to actually show, I'm more than what you think I am. I'm more than you ever thought I could be.
I do love that exercise in duality, and
I've also had evil metallics. Those are always fun.
Yeah. Well, never mind, Fen, okay? I was going to say, I like the whole concept of the past and my bloodline does not define me. My race does not define me. I absolutely love that. As someone who is building a campaign in using my system, based on the concept of heroes and villains. One thing that has interested me a lot recently when looking at stuff like this, and this question, I read this at the sort of at the beginning of this week, and it did make me think of the idea of having a character, like say for instance a chromatic dragon, say for instance if they were like gold or something like that, and having it that they, as they're walking around, with this heritage and people believing them to be evil, and they are trying to do their, good things, and they're trying to do it. It's kind of like anti-hero concept, and that sudden moment of like, hey, I'm doing these things. No, but you're always going to be this, and suddenly turning around and creating almost a sort of an essence of dread within the hearts of others, and saying, okay, if you want to believe me to be so evil, let me show you how powerful I am, because there is a reason why my kin are so deeply feared. And I think dragons in on themselves command such an imposing force that even Dragonborns have the capacity to do so. And I think that's another thing that I like about them, is because of their heritage, there is that ounce of badass in them that sort of could almost be that either the strong silent or the overbearing destructive nature that could really either turn people onto the ideas of this race or turn them off to the ideas of this race. They are an all or nothing race, and it's one of the reasons I like them.
Nia.
Yeah.
Hello, it's me.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Nia. Probably. Haven't replaced. I'm not a fucking skinwalker. Stop saying I am.
I mean, I don't know. Your character sheet said Camus, so I don't know.
It's Camus. It's after the philosopher.
Anyway.
Philosopher,
Yeah.
author.
Either way, what's your answer?
Anyway, yeah. I definitely see your guys' points. I think it's very good points, and having that like literary device of proving that the nature of my past is not me. That's sort of overcoming I think it's either man versus self or man versus society.
I think it's a mix of the two, but I think it's
it's a
society
mix
more.
of the two. Yeah. It can create some very strong stories, but personally, I'm just not really a fan of the idea of it in general. If I am going to have a character have like characteristics of like the history of the dragons, I'm gonna have it be more deep, like this is how they act, and I'll tie that into their morality. Soul versus blood, that's what it is. But I'll have it like the more individual parts, like copper dragons are metallic, but they're also like they like jokes, they like art, they like stuff like that. I'd have that tied more into the thing rather than have their base nature be their thing. So like having a evil copper dragon who is a fan of art, that inspires a lot. You can do a lot with that, and I think rather than having the base morality be based on it, have the other personality traits come from it, or like the general interest come from it, might be generally better than the whole like, oh yeah, no, I'm a metallic dragon, so I'm good, or even like I'm a metallic dragon but I'm bad. I think
personalities can be further in depth this seems really simple, but by just adding a hobby that they like that doesn't necessarily define or be based on their alignment, and that immediately creates depth. Like as you said with the art thing, having it that they're an evil character, but yet they love the concept of really deeply appreciating pieces of art. Or even having it that they're a good character but has like a guilty pleasure for something. Like for instance, like you can obviously get good characters that have flaws like alcoholism, or even enjoyment of like being a bit of an adrenaline junkie, stuff like that, where they can have good people can have vices and bad people can still have virtues.
Yeah, yeah. That's a really good point. Also, because I didn't make that point well enough as well. The sort of like combining the sort of perversion of what the general expectation for a dragon and their like
Kin.
personality type natures and interests into an individual character's morality can also be interesting. You can do a lot just by like, having a silver dragon who's really interested in humans, but they're also evil, so they're less interested in human culture and more interested in like humans. And you can get like evil fucking sorcerer type shit. You
You
can
can
get
get
a lot of
mad
interesting stuff
scientist,
just yeah,
motherfucker.
you can get mad scientists. You can get someone who is really interested in fucking with humans, just in general. Like it's a, like they're playing a game of Stellaris or something. One of the 4X games. Hearts of Iron. That's what I was talking. That's what I was thinking about. Unfortunately, I have a life, so
I
they're
mean,
treating it just like this big political game,
I mean,
instead of generally just being interested in humans and their culture. It's interested with fucking with their culture and humans in general. There's can be more interesting stuff from the perversion of generalized sort of
thoughts.
cultural traits of the different Dragonborn types, rather than the morality. Because the morality is good; it's really strong. I'm not going to diss anyone who
Plays
likes to
into
play
it,
with that
yeah.
with their characters, especially with Dragonborns. They have a very strong reason to do that. But I think also this can be more in depth, or subtle in a way. If you want a character that is you know, has that sort of stuff, even if it's just a side thing, can add a lot of depth. Also, I sometimes want to play chromatic dragons, and I don't want to be evil because whenever I play a mean character, I feel bad.
That's fair.
I have not played a Dragonborn, and I generally wasn't familiar with the concept of which ones are generally evil or good. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it used to be like a whole thing in like the D&D Monsters Manual. They would give monsters like alignments, and people
Right.
went, nah, threw it out, and then,
Yeah.
eventually D&D also went, okay, yeah, no. Fine.
Now it's just
Maybe let's
usually
not speak to the
XYZ,
moral
not
purity of
always.
the. Yeah. Let's not
Yeah.
generalize the morals of a fucking hog I found on the ground. Let's not say it's true neutral. Maybe it could be an evil hog. We don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing is binary. Everything's a spectrum.
What about you, Cooks?
Oh, I mean, I also have never played a Dragonborn before, and it honestly, if I were to, it would always depend on how an NPC would treat my Dragonborn character. Because if I want to play like generally I play like chaotic good characters, but if an NPC is rude to my character, okay, you think I'm a bad guy? I'm a bad guy. Like I'm, you know, it like the energy that my characters generally receive, my characters will give them back.
Yeah.
So it for me, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna play a chromatic dragon and I'm gonna like defy my lineage. I would literally, if they start calling me slurs, I'd be like, oh, okay, this is how we're gonna play. I'm gonna set your house on fire. Like, I don't know.
The truest vengeance.
The truest vengeance.
A
I
lot of
I
breaths
get,
are really good for destroying things. So yeah, maybe let's not fuck with the dragons.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you okay? You wanna call me a bad person, even though we just met? Cool, yeah. Where's your house?
I'm not a
Listen,
bad
I have fire
person.
breath, and I'm gonna use it. I don't get enough chances, so
Yeah,
a little bit of
I'm not a bad
impromptu
person.
arson.
I'm a good monster.
wonderful. But yeah, so most of it was answered, and uh, let's go to the last question, which is the dumbest question I wrote.
Go
Uh,
on, Cooks.
do you prefer your Dragonborns with parents, one parent, or in an orphanage? Because mommy daddy issues.
At least one
I-
parent. I feel like not having parents is almost a bit too much of a cliche, but that's just my personal history where everyone in my games wants to be an orphan. So that's as far as I'm gonna go with this discussion.
I mean,
That's fair.
I mean, no matter how many parents they have, they're gonna have trauma. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
make a D&D character without trauma.
I would go with the boat of one parent being generally the best for Dragonborn, because that in itself can be its own narrative beat of like, is my parent actually a dragon, or am I just like one of the many Dragonborn that are from other Dragonborn? It could be its own fun little thing in its own process. It also could be very traumatizing or self-realization or actualization if they come to terms with the fact that they may not actually be like properly a descendant of a dragon, or if they are, it brings its own interest and its own mystique, as I'll call it.
The entire campaign. Are you my dad?
Yeah, you just pull some heavy Gorgog energy out and you start asking
Yeah.
everyone if they're your dad.
The eternal search
Our
for the one
resident dragon fucker, which would say
parent. Oh, listen, I think Finn is right. One parent is the best because goddamn, I'd be loved to introduce. Fucking bring me to your parent.
Oh no.
You're getting a new dad today, buddy. Congratulations. Good for you. You're turning that one into a two.
God.
Jesus.
Extra pluses if it's like an actual dragon and not just another dragonborn. It's it's a reward, and it's also a good point for like 1 to 2 parents. Is you get access to a dragon, and generally having a dragon as an in-law is not the worst thing. It can be bad. It can be very bad, but also they have a lot of money usually, and I'm really not above marrying into money. So
At least you're honest about it, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Nia up front. I am a gold digger, but I'll treat you well.
Hey, yeah. Like I'm a good man second. I'm a gold digger. No, I'm a good man first. I'm a gold digger second. Almost revealed my true intentions there.
Yeah, that would have been
The
that would have
the
been
dragons is
pretty
the
bad.
other way around.
For dragons, it's the other way around. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think the funniest thing to me is if both parents are in the picture, and the funnier thing would be if it was an actual dragon that stayed to raise you or raise the character.
Natsu
Because
sort of
it's not
dragged me along
seen
it.
often, in D&D stories where the dragon sticks around to help raise the kid.
Yeah.
So I think it would be nice to defy the stigma.
Yeah. And I think also like searching for the other parent could also be more interesting. Like, who would have given this up? Why would you just
Why would you abandon
you've had
dragon?
this. Why would you abandon a dragon? Who
I
are
did
you
see-
to do that?
Actually,
Two really
Oh.
good ones where someone said like the parents are recently separated but they're still both in the picture because then they've just had like a divorce or something, which I find that great. It's just like, yeah, okay, you're gonna have to go back to your mother's hoard. I left something there, and you know how she is. She won't let me get back in. Okay, yeah, sure. And you actually have to fight you have to fight a dragon, and the dragon is either one of your elder siblings from like a different father, or or even it's just you have to fight the mum, but not force lethal damage because like, come on. Dad just needs his stuff, okay? Oh, I hate it when you guys fight. No, stop burning my party. Stop it.
I also think the idea of like just like one of the non-dragon parent like passing right before you were born, or like right after, just like that, like the dragon having to raise you because there's like no one else.
Sort of like the I think in a lot of media you see something similar as well. The whole oh yeah, sure, you can have a child with this super powerful creature. Unfortunately, you will die. So make sure you want to do that beforehand.
Make sure you've read all of your books.
Yeah. Make sure this is the life you want because you will be dying straight afterwards. So even though that's like not a thing in a lot of people's world for very good reason, it can also be that sort of interesting like, yeah, no, they definitely did sacrifice themselves in a way to have you. So, what's the ultimate form of love but martyrdom? And even though that's not true and it's kind of creepy, it's an interesting thing to have as a character. Like, my life costed someone else's, and someone else that I probably would have otherwise like have been really close to me. So that can sort of be interesting.
To go into sort of more of a lighter side for that, you could also do it where it is kind of similar to the quote-unquote horny bard, where one of the parents is sort of away. So you're still being raised by the dragon or dragonborn parent at the homestead, but at some point you go out in search of the deadbeat who's like ran away or who's on a big adventure. And you're trying to find them, whether it is the quote-unquote horny bard or it is just someone else. And finding out that you have other siblings of different races that are crossbred with your other parent's race. And sort of seeing that like as you go on throughout your journey and they're all trying to find out what's happened, or even they've had more of a life with this other parent, whether it's a mother or a father. So that would be quite fascinating to see as well.
It's just a campaign to do. You're all playing technically relatives, like all
yes. That classic idea.
They just go, I'm just trying to find my father for ages, and then someone says, "What's your father's name again?" "His name is McSpidlick," and then everyone goes, "That's my dad's name." Dun, dun, dun. And then just like,
coincidence, and then they move on.
He's got different IDs for each family. It's just slight variation.
Then there's the alternative where the bard's in the party.
No.
Where's a old man, his secret dad that is trying to hide. They're like, haha, yeah, I sound like a scumbag.
Yeah,
you
want
to
strangle
profusely? You can't get your hands on him? That's a little cruel.
Can I borrow that handkerchief? Yes, they become as you said, the D&D parent, and nobody realizes.
Yeah, their entire plot is just them trying to atone for.
Atone without saying it's them.
Yes, yeah.
I'm trying desperately to cleanse myself of past sin, but also, if anyone knows, if I'm ever honest and this gets found out, I am being strangled. Like,
someone's killing me.
The Destroyer has looked at me and said that he will strangle his father with his own hands for leaving.
He never
so young in his life.
He never joined. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No, you go on.
I was just like, he never joins the party whenever they visit one of the parents.
Yeah, sorry. I have something to do in this town.
I'm just not good with family reunions, okay?
Both my parents, they blew up. The family reunions, they exploded violently. It's really sad. So I do really bad with family situations. Oh, also, the opposite way around to this, where the dragon is the one who's the deadbeat parent. That's also kind of cool. Like, you have this bard that's wandering around. You're on the road, and the dragon just comes up every once in a while, says something, and then leaves. Could also be a good idea because it's leads to rejection of self, because usually the dragon part is more explicit and visible than the other part.
Superior being usually. Not wanting to be a part of its lesser being children is a very big cliche, but it is still welcomed nonetheless.
A lot of cliches are a cliche for a reason. You just have to put a new spin on them, or otherwise do them well. I've seen things which are which is terribly cliche, but I still ate them up because they were written well.
Yeah.
It's not the cliche that is bad, it's the writing.
I'm going to say this final thought, and then we're going to move on to actually looking at Dragonborns.
Yeah.
I was thinking more so it's like a Dragonborn is born, but both his parents are elves, or some race that is not Dragonborn, right? And so they think they're adopted, and so go on this huge journey, and then whenever they come back, going, you guys never told me, but obviously I was adopted, so I was looking for my real parents. And then one of them goes, "I'm a dragon, you idiot!" Like, you went on a journey looking for me.
Yeah, I just take this form to appease your other parent. What? You could have come to me at any time.
This is just easier, so I can live in the house. I have a hoard under the house that's the size of 3 mountains.
Did you never wonder why we've never wanted for anything, despite living out in the middle of the boonies?
Kind of. But yeah,
it just scares the neighbors, so I have to stay in my elf form. Because last time it happened, I got hunted down by the city guard.
We got attacked by bandits 3 days ago. What do you think I meant when I said I burned them all to a crisp? What you thought that I had fireball? I've never used a spell book in my life.
Have you not seen the multiple armies coming to claim my horde?
Oh God!
You thought that was just for show? Like I was some horrific war criminal? I mean, I am, but it's for different reasons, and you might.
God.
But yeah, that's my thought. That I think that would be the funniest one of like, you idiot! No, you're not adopted. Why didn't you say anything before you left? I could have explained all of this.
I definitely think it's the funniest one, Cookie, considering that it's made all of us.
All right. Now let's get to Simping oh God, I had
Simping for some actual Dragonborn. Not just talking about them.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So
this is what I've been waiting for.
An hour and 12 minutes in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Would you like to introduce the first one?
Yeah. If you could bring it up. This is Usten Yagisa, a light cleric, a crystal gem dragonborn, owned by Zero Fruit. And I just gotta say, they're very lovely and bright.
Always.
I love this so much. It's so bright. It's not edgy at all as well. This is something that I think a lot of people get often mixed up, is that they go Dragonborn, scales, and dragons. Okay, have to be edge. And I love everything about the colourful art style, the design, and the bright colours. Also, floating objects that just perfectly stand still is also my jam.
Yes, I was gonna say that. Like, I always love those because that's the aesthetic of gem dragons. Or gem dragonborn as well, is they have like pieces of their body, or like pieces of like just their particular gem floating off of them, so it creates these very beautiful aesthetics, which is so uncommon outside of very specific things. Like, I know certain Ergonasi and like other like very, very meticulously designed things, but to see it on Dragonborn as like a consistent feature is very, very beautiful.
I am a big fan of that like nose horn. I think it is very cool to see like the relatively simple head, because a lot of other Dragonborns have like really, really ornamental ones with all the spikes and stuff. But just seeing the more like smoother lizard head with a sick ass nose horn, very cool. Would headbutt me. I think it would probably break a few ribs as well. I have no clue how hard whatever stone they is, but you know, cool ramming horn, and who doesn't love being rammed?
Goddamn.
Yep.
I just also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I did the phrasing perfect.
My brain sees like the horn on the end of the notes. And, like that's a Zelda boss weak spot there. Like,
No.
All glowing gems are the weak spots.
Yeah. I also
Aim
just
for the nose.
I just
Ooh.
love the coloration as well. Like most Dragonborns that I see are like darker tones and everything. So I really like this, especially like the tail. Like I think it's like a two tail or like
Yeah,
a
it
split
splits.
off. I don't know.
a ribbon tail almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
It's
I
very
like it,
aesthetically
Picasso.
pleasing.
They look they have like very soft colors. Would still absolutely crush me. But
Yeah.
I mean, they do have a
Thank
giant
God.
fucking mace. It's
Yeah.
kind of like
So, would we like to
Gonna
move
look
on?
like Yamcha.
Jesus. Would we like to move on to the next one, or would we like to continue simping on this
Yeah.
one?
Let's move on to the next one.
Okay. Here we go.
oh, classic one.
This is Champion Fighter, a green Dragonborn, and is owned by Mips.
Soft.
I just really like this design of big, chunky, bulky, and yet also so very much it's a very tightly well done design, whilst also having that sort of the sort of poisonous smoke coming out of the mouth. Very badass sort of symbol. I very much enjoy this.
Handlebar horns.
Okay.
All I have
Oh.
to say. That's the end. That's a statement. Handlebar
mean,
horns.
handlebar horns,
big,
always
soft
nice.
Woman.
handlebar
big
horns,
fan.
very chunky, wood cuddle. You know.
Or would she cuddle or would she smother you to stop you from breathing on her?
I think the
I'm
answer
not
is
going to
yes.
complain either way.
Both works.
I'm not going to complain either way.
Yeah, me neither. I do like also her armor. Like I love armor that isn't like don't get me wrong, I like sexy armor too, but I do appreciate this armor that actually
practical armor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
practical
like-
armor, not based on the Hell Survivors.
You don't like the
Fair
bikini
enough.
armor?
I mean, I do.
I mean,
I
The-
do.
the
I
plus-
just
Great
say
to see it. Personally, I think I like this armor design a lot more than most because that it's a bit practical and a bit, it's both practical and fitting. I think I'm sort of with I like any and every armor regardless of how much it shows or how much it doesn't show, because even if it is designed for the specific gender or not, it's still awesome to see a character wearing armor that fits them in any which way. But to see a character wear it and it makes sense in the verse or the build that they're going for.
Yeah.
hot,
yeah.
crush me. Anyway,
I do also like the hair type appendages. I'm not sure what they are, but the darker
Tendrils?
green ones hanging. Yeah, the tendrils. I think that is very cool. I have not seen a lot of dragons that make use of that like extra sort of because it's a very like alien design in a way, sort of the extra appendage type hair.
It's something
Yeah,
that
no,
most
thighs,
people
though, it is pretty
ignore.
Yeah.
I like it, Picasso. Let's go on to the next one.
I was just gonna say dem thighs though.
Yeah, crush me like a watermelon, please.
We'll move
Very
on to the
easily.
next one now. Which
All right.
Yes.
This is Angela Barrow, a draconic sorcerer, a green dragonborn owned by Zero Food.
Swing.
I really like the fins. The fins are so
fins are
fucking
great.
cool. I love fin designs.
Very nice.
It's very
Sort of
reminiscent.
long.
I love the three
cool.
belts. It's three belts. Yes, I know the usual weeb talking about too many belts. I love how many belts there are. Whether it makes sense or not, I just love it.
Also, just like the scale pattern is very nice.
It's
Yes.
glorious.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's very dinosaur-esque.
Absolutely.
I was-
Sort of
yes.
Lock Monster-esque in a way. And
Goodness,
you know what?
yeah.
I was actually
Big
gonna comment
fucking
on
fan.
that. Everyone always says like Dragonborn is like fairly well built or well rounded. To see like a proper, very slender one is always so.
Welcomed.
It's such an
Yeah.
odd sight. Like it's a good sight to see, like this a, not I wouldn't call them rail thin, but like a very, like, in juxtaposition to how they're generally well rounded, built, strong. To see one that's a little.
Looks very agile.
Yes.
A twink, if you will.
Yes.
Sure,
I mean-
let's go with that.
I don't.
Usually
Wait,
the Western dragons are. Oh, sorry.
No, it's all good. It's just giving me like war flashbacks to Path of Titans. One of the dinosaurs kind of look like this, and they always eat me. So
Is anyone else gonna take note of the finger count? Because I think they have 3 fingers, thumb and 2 fingers.
I don't think.
I don't-
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I might be wrong. I don't know if it's
have
my
to-
my.
I'd have to
It
It
zoom
looks,
in.
Yeah.
like, it looks like 3 fingers in the font to me.
And I like
Yeah.
that. That, like,
Some-
you know, again going with that sort of lizard-esque sort of
Yeah, 3
accurate
fingers on a thumb.
style. I think it's really cool. Just
Yeah. You
It's a
don't
lot easier
very
to
much see a
draw.
lot of designs with less than 5 fingers. It's just sort of the inbuilt standard. So seeing something more lizard inspired is great. Also,
It's-
they are fucking long and slender. I'm a big fan of the fingers.
It's a blessing to have characters that have less than 5 fingers because it's just easier to draw. I suffer so much.
that
hee hee.
extra finger.
Oh no. But yeah, it's a lovely Dragonborn. Let's move on to. Oh no. This bitch.
I know what's coming.
Oh, God.
next.
Yeah.
God.
Yes, you do.
Oh yeah.
All right, I want to preface
Dredging up
this by
torture.
saying I don't sip for this motherfucker, and neither should you. You can't change him. No
Too
one
late.
can.
Too late.
And I'll
Listen,
let
it does-
the fucking motherfucker who made this guy introduce him.
Hello. This is one of my lovely NPCs I made that his name is Ixandar, also known as the Volcanic King. He is actually a dragon, but vastly prefers to stay in this state. Because what's more intimidating than a king with a missing hand who can summon it at will, has a sword made by a demon, and is also, not so secretly, one of the largest dragons in the world? I mean, what's not to love? Oh, and while being Arrow Ace, he will flirt with just about anyone to get his way to make things how he wants them. So, anyone and everyone, you're all in target sites. Literally.
I'm liking those odds.
Also, the artist is Kane.
Yes.
If it wasn't
I
obvious.
mean, I'm gonna put the artist on the Twitter because there's a lot of artists this time around, and we're already running on time. So
Yes, we are running actually a very good time.
behind, yes, I'm aware.
7 minutes from stopping time. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I can't say anything about him. 2 years of just pure torment from this motherfucker.
years
So it's I despise this man. I actually despise this man. I am so glad he's dead, and I'm so happy I destroyed his fucking sword just as a little bit of an extra fuck you. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, I'm glad that he couldn't fucking hit me in the final fight.
Yeah,
I
Okay.
want to point out the malice that you
1 out of 3
have.
guys.
I want to point out the malice that you have towards this character. It's very much a great point because this is exactly what I was talking about. Is a man who wears his heritage, his power on his sleeve, out for the world to see, and not only looks like as if this character is going to be strong, menacing, and charismatic, but actually goes through with all of those things to the point of which you are basically telling me that in the game that you played that this dude basically ruined you guys to such a degree that you were so glad when he finally kicked it that the visuals tell me that his personality matched every aspect of what we're seeing. The magical hand, the demonic sword, the beautifully embellished armor, the dark scales, the crazy crown. Every part of this character sings sings this beautiful lore and backstory ready for the story to be told of him. And I love it. He looks like he could command not only a room, but a whole freaking kingdom. I mean, just on that throne.
This guy was fucking blackmailing us
from across the world.
We can't get too far into it, Juice.
Yeah, can't get too far. But
no, I mean
also Mitch is telling me
our time. Oh. Okay. But yeah. Although he's hot, he's now dead, motherfuckers. So. Simp while you can over his corpse.
Yeah, the fucking ashes. God, what an asshole.
I love
Let's go on to the next one.
Yes, we may
get him off the screen.
He must remain. I'll
get him out of here.
He's dead. He had his time.
Alright, and now we move on to Barash, Flameproof Drentiful, Conquest Paladin of the God of War, a red dragonborn, owned by Pally. He gave a small blurb about him. Give me one moment.
Gave a pretty large blurb, honestly, in comparison.
No, it's pretty small. He's a powerful, loud, and tall red dragonborn with fiery temper, but even with his unapproachable nature, he's fairly good with children and tries to be a good role model for them.
All of the like, big and buff, flames.
Straight off the bat, I do love how the scales are going down his neck. The fact that he's a red dragonborn that serves the God of War is bringing me back to the Volcanic King, and I'm
typing through it now.
PTSD.
Considering that was the God of War in your world, Fen.
Yes, it's so wonderful that even just the sight of another red dragonborn who in any way is related to an entity of war gives you guys such an illicit fear means I have done my job of making a character so simpable or hateable that it sticks in your memory forever.
Oh, it's glorious. You've done very well, Fen.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say this one's hot. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
The king is dead, and I will simp for this one.
The king is dead.
The replacement
sword. I love the sword.
Congratulations, other red dragon.
Very well put together scales. I love the visual appearance of them. I love the armor. I'm a big fan of good armors. And the sword itself, despite looking very basic, has a lot of little details that you kind of unfortunately need to look around my wings for. I'm not going to stop talking.
Stop talking for a moment.
It's beautifully colored and it has a lot of like shimmers on it, and it looks like it's based off of the Scottish Claymore. And if they're strong enough to one-hand it, goddamn, bruh.
To one-hand it and at the same time being cast in magic, I mean,
that's
it does kind of give me the what's the fucking sword that He-Man wield?
Oh yes,
the Sword of Omens.
No. I am a big fan of that hilt.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah, good character.
Also love the cape. Love capes. Capes are wonderful.
Yeah.
No capes.
Yeah, gotta have that dramatic entrance.
Beautiful red eyes as well. No one else was gonna say it, so I thought I'd say
it. I also do really like his eyebrows. That sort of like those sort of eyebrows on a Dragonborn, fucking classic, but for a good goddamn
kind of like studded scale eyebrows.
Yes, yeah. They work they work well, but they don't take away too much of the attention of the rest of the face. Yeah.
I'll say this one last comment before we go on to the next one. I also love a guy who looks like he could kick my ass, but is also really nice to like kids. Does that make sense?
Yeah. A soft
heart of gold,
if you will.
Heart of gold, yeah.
Tough man with DILF tendencies.
So on to the next one.
So this is Dalaran Eldritch Knight, a bronze dragonborn, also owned by Pally. Um, the small blurb for him is from a family of refugees. This young bronze dragonborn always been proficient in the ways of warriors and casters, blending both in a thunderous way. He was on a quest to find answers to what happened to his mom, who disappeared in the night without leaving behind a note. He's 100% a good boy.
So we got a golden retriever over here.
The goodest
Yes.
boy, yeah.
A golden retriever.
Any
who's
sort of
thinking
goddamn
that.
wingies.
Golden retriever that's also not golden.
Yeah, Brass is close enough.
It's, it's like fool's gold. Except fool's gold is a different thing.
I mean, he certainly
retriever,
fools
fine.
my heart.
Yeah.
He also gives me like twink or twonk vibes.
Twonk, definitely, from what I remember about them.
So a himbo?
Yes, kind of.
Okay.
Who doesn't
Wonderful.
like a good
They
himbo?
have intelligence. They're an Eldritch Knight. They're at least somewhat smart, but maybe I don't
Okay.
recall the wisdom being there.
Those pearly blues are definitely like little oceans. They
Yeah.
sing to a tale. I think it's also nice to have it that a character can have such an incredibly almost innocent or sweet smile, with such terrifyingly sharp teeth.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I was going to mention that sharp fucking teeth.
Beautiful
Ooh,
duality there.
boy.
A beautiful level of duality there.
He looks
I
like
do
I could
also
trust
like
him
that
to
it's-
hold my drink at a party, you know?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Good energy to have.
He
The-
looks like that friend that would cheer you on no matter what, you know?
I do like his head sort of spikes, and
Yes.
wing ears are an absolute classic. I have no clue what they're actually called.
I mean,
but
they're
they,
like ear
fins.
fins. They're ear fins.
Ear fins?
fins, fin tails. Yeah, the fin tails. Sorry, fin ears. Good,
Yeah.
good design
And
choice.
fur?
Oh,
Also, just like the yellow and blue, it's a very nice color combination.
They strike each other very well.
Yeah,
Bless you.
indeed.
especially considering the eye color, I believe, is electric blue.
I think that is actually. Now I'm looking at it.
Man,
Yeah.
I love.
gonna rock down to electric something blue.
Electric.
Don't get us DMCA.
Shit, you're
All
right.
right.
On to the
So
next
yes,
one.
yeah, a good boy love.
Yes.
So up next,
Oh God. This
Oh,
is
joy.
it's a little collage.
Palamute, Grave Cleric, Copper Dragonborn, owned by Eldritch Sugar. That was, yeah, I don't,
Yay.
yeah. Some of you,
Cyanide and
some
tits
of-
out. Those are good
Oh, yeah.
combinations.
Yeah. I love the like lingerie one.
Yes.
Yeah.
The contrast of the heavily armored, very valiant individual, and then just that.
Yeah.
I feel like that is.
It's its own form of erotic because it's like, yeah, I'm this big, powerful individual, but also
But hear me out.
just
Oh,
I really like the heart-shaped armor one, the heart-shaped tit window.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Unfortunately,
I-
JoJo Part 4 has ruined that for me, but God, is
How
it a
dare
good
you.
design.
How they?
apparently he is canonically a DILF.
Wonderful.
Oh right, yeah, I
Ooh,
forgot.
I didn't know.
There's a Eldritch Sugar does have a video where they have an adopted child, basically.
Oh,
So they actually are a
God.
DILF, and I believe they have
are they
an
are they
actual
a
child.
sopping wet pathetic man dilf? Because that is my
No, I
weakness.
don't
Damn
believe
it.
they are, from what I know of this character.
Damn.
So sad.
I would love to cuddle. Just
They look like they
Yeah.
need it,
they
honestly.
look like they need it, and you know,
I don't know
I'm
why,
here.
but
There's a reason my baby name was Hug-a-Bug.
I will say something that has swept me away is none of them, except from one specifically. Like, because all of these are amazing, I love them all, but one of them has swept me away more than all of them, which is the one in the short crop top, like sort of barista shirt.
Yeah.
Specifically with that, I'm so done with this silly situation face. Like that kind of like, I'm done with this. And I have to be honest, that mixed with all of the other artwork tells me almost every story that you need to have for a whole campaign to have a character that is not taken too seriously, nor takes themselves too seriously either, whilst also being able to have a serious character with serious moments, whilst also not having to be a dead serious character, not only all the time, but also as a solid start. Having the character that has all of these different moods, showing that sort of almost human factor to a non-human race is... it's everything, and I love it, and it's brilliant, and it's hilarious.
Yes.
I also want to... You said this was the copper?
Yeah, copper.
I love the way the oxidizing is on like the fins and the horns and the tail.
Yes.
Yes.
I also just love like imagining the concept of a copper dragon. The further on you get into the campaign, like the
more oxidized.
it is.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
not a lot of people play with like the actual properties of the metal of the dragon. So anyone who actually does that in the design, very cool.
It's it's perfect. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Moving on to the next one.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Joe, explain yourself.
Introduce them.
So this is a character that was actually done by the artist known as Coin, also known as Coming Soon. The character here is actually from my system, but the reason that they're in Dragonborn is because they have a power which is called monomorphism, and the monomorph is dragon. They can turn themselves into either a full-body dragon or a part dragon, part humanoid. This individual is called Kozuki Seryu, and their other ability is known as chemistry manipulation, where they can control different elements and turn them into things. This dude has the ability to breathe fire in his draconic form, but he can also turn fire into electricity. The two things that he has in either hand is a katana made out of flame and an 8-branch sword made out of lightning. You see the one scar on his chest, that is from when he was defeated once by an individual who he claims to be his greatest friend, who is basically the emperor of his country. The character themselves is specifically designed to take from more Eastern culture of dragons than Western culture. And before anyone asks, no, he does not have a tail. And yes, the horns and hair, as well as the colouring of the skin, were supposed to be somewhat of a nod to both Eastern dragons and specifically Shenron from Dragon Ball Z.
Hell yeah.
I was going to mention that, but I was not sure.
I also... Sorry, on.
No, you.
I was going to say, I also I'm sorry about the quality of the image. My artist is going to kill me. I sent it, and for some reason, it just like compressed itself for some reason. So
it looks alright on the actual Twitch thing. It's a little crunched on the actual Discord, but that's kind of just how Discord is.
Yeah,
I love the texture not found pants.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be purple, like sort of almost purple scales. But yes, it does look like texture not found.
Why can't we just have texture not found? Oh wait, we're on Twitch still.
Yeah,
The funniest part about that is when I told my artist what it was supposed to look like, he went, I just want to point out this looks like Gary's mod texture not found. And I was like, what are you talking about? Showed it to me. I was like, I mean, it's fine. And he just went, all right, but if anyone says that, it's on you.
It's on you, Joe. It's on you.
It is on me.
So sad. I can't believe he lost the textures to his pants. I sure hope he recovers them.
I do like the like almost antler kind of horns. I generally love I just love like deer and that sort of like animal in general. So whenever that kind of horn is incorporated, I just wonderful.
It looks like it would hurt to be impaled with those.
It would fucking
fucking
hurt.
so
Yeah.
fucking bad.
Be pretty bad. Don't get much worse
Yeah.
than that.
It also isn't very easily shown on here, but if you look very carefully as well, his scales can actually be seen on his skin. Again, the image quality is terrible, but the scales are very like thinly detailed into the actual piece. I'm so annoyed about that quality. That is gonna bother me. But yeah, I liked the way that it came out personally.
With the rim lighting, they almost have like a gem kind of look to their skin. I think it's also with like the very what I can tell is like a scale brush that was used. It just kind of gives them that look of like almost a gem dragon, even though I'm pretty sure they're not a gem dragon.
No.
Yeah. I like the hair. Colorful.
My brother informed me because he looked at this and he went, "I think it's very clever what you've done there." He said the dragon looking like Shenron, and then the hair looking like yellow and sort of orange, which is the color of the Dragon Balls. And I just went, "Yes, that
Dragon Balls.
that was my plan."
Their hair, to me, take this how you will, it looks like they have a mango on their head.
Yeah, a little.
Jesus. I can't unsee it. Why would you say this?
You know, I'm sure, you know, they're just a bit fruity, you know?
Okay. Wonderful. Alright, now let's move on to our last Dragonborn.
Oh god, we got one
Why did
left.
I sound like a fucking drunk?
Well, we got this little guy.
Alright, explain yourself, Nia.
So this is Nepetakoit. He's my new character. He is a astronomy wizard, and he's just a little guy. He likes gardening, he likes his family, he likes his singular friend, you know. And he has not been outside of the house for like 12 years. So,
I
you know, he's
that.
just a little guy.
They look like they sit in the back of the class reading to themselves.
They did.
I like the mane.
They did.
I do like the mane.
Yeah, they are very fluffy.
From this distance, I know it's not, but the mane looks like it's like newspaper clippings. It looks like there's just writing going down the hair, which would be dope, honestly.
Yeah,
like imagine a scribe's wizard that casts spell through their hair.
Jesus.
I know I haven't really been able to say this, so I'm going to say it. Finally, a dragon that isn't usually pertaining to the same usual colors, because some of the original colors of dragons that like nobody really talks about is purple is something that was sort of mainstreamed later, but now barely anyone goes back to purple. So I can definitely appreciate a purple dragon.
Yeah. I also love how thick the tail is.
Well,
yeah, it's I like my tails thick. What can I say?
Yeah.
But I think I've showed this a couple times. That whenever he's happy, it sort of like slaps across the ground, so there's a hearty thud. It's one of those nice little things, and unfortunately, that doesn't really work with a thin tail. So I can wrap you up with it like a viper. I'm not sure actually if Fen allows prehensile tails, but
I mean, I would allow it to be prehensile, but you're not going to hold something in it.
Yeah,
I
can't hold something in it.
Also, again, with kind of almost the antler kind of, especially with like adding like almost foliage and leaves onto it.
Oh,
yeah, leaves.
You also didn't mention there's a cat in that hair now.
Oh, there is a cat in that hair. Yeah, Rapunzel, the bastard. I summoned them, and immediately they use his hair as a hotel and keeps bapping him every once in a while. So, good on you, Rapunzel. What an actual cat. Just a.
So we're both playing Disney princesses. Well, I guess you have a Disney princess in your hair. I am playing a Disney princess.
Yeah, I'm stealing IP. Your new IP. Disney will hunt my ass down.
Oh
yeah,
no!
You know, just a little guy.
The cease and desist is in the mail. Don't worry.
Oh
Do we have
God.
it already?
But yeah, I really
he's
like
just a little...
the coloration. Although his eye, the way that he's staring into my soul right now is kind of like
So,
unnerving.
I mean,
the expression ref I gave to the artist, who is really great, Chisai Kitsune, by the way, was, you know how those photos of the snake with like front on and they're doing that W3 face? It was one of those images, and then the that autism creature, and they've sort of gotten that like dead blank stare great. So really, really good. So yeah, they do have that sort of like staring into your soul thing, but there's nothing mean behind their eyes. It's just that they
Also, I don't know why, but they give me MLP vibes. There's something about them.
Oh, Pony. Oh yeah, like Discord.
Yes.
Somewhat Discord mixed with Twilight Sparkle.
I mean,
Jesus Christ.
it kind of does fit because, again, between being an astronomy wizard and being a amethyst dragonborn, it kind of does fit that aesthetic of My Little Pony / Discord. So
Great, cool.
Everybody now has another thing to bully you with. You're welcome.
I will say the leaves and the antlers combined together almost give me an almost Eastern dragon style sort of vibe.
Yeah, I think I was trying to go something like that, like halfway in between. He's not like very Western dragon in the fact he's extremely buff. And since Dragonborns don't usually have wings, I decided, yeah, maybe if we do the longer tail and the sort of the horns and usually because he has like actual sort of ears rather than deer type ears rather than traditional the sort of any sort of Dragonborn ears, which is either no ears or the fin ears or something like that. I decided maybe going for a more Eastern design would probably be better there. Which mainly just because.
It's very funny because the region that this character is from in my world is from a Southeast Asia inspired region, has a Welsh accent, and it's the most conglomerate thing, but it is so entertaining, and I unfortunately cannot simp for them because it's just like I find it so entertaining. Like I have to be honest about that.
The only concern that I have in the terms of it, I don't think I could simp for this character for one reason, and it's because the character gives me a lot of like youngster vibes, like very young character.
They are.
He is an adult. He's like 25, but
Yeah.
I'm playing him more innocent. So I personally wouldn't simp for him either, mainly because I don't simp for any of my characters. It's always weird. They're like my children.
Fair.
So,
Valid.
but definitely this one. I feel like he'd be a good friend and he'd sit right next to you. But that's sort of when the simping can stop.
Yeah.
You say that Drama's gonna get him. Don't you worry.
I don't know how, but Tabitha's gonna jump realities and
Nah.
Jump realities. It's taking a boat ride. We're in the same world.
that's a long boat ride.
It's a long boat ride, but still
Yeah.
a boat ride.
A boat ride, nonetheless.
I think this is a good Dragonborn to end off on.
Yeah.
We're
We
an hour
are
and
so
48
over.
minutes.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way: it's about to be 20 minutes past 1 a.m. here.
I'm so sorry. All right.
Don't worry.
Well,
Don't be sorry.
then thank you all so much for watching. Do you guys have anything to say before we get off?
Thank you for having me again.
I will be returning to my perch to watch from a distance. Do not be afraid.
Maybe.
The amount of birds will be returning to normal. Kind of too many. The uprising will
is an
occur.
option.
The birds work for the bourgeoisie, and we are the birds, so you must fear us.
It's very
Oh, don't
funny.
talk about birds around me. He'll try to kidnap one.
It was once, and it was in character.
It was twice.
It's been twice. And
Twice.
And on that note,
But yeah, thank you so much. We're gonna Hi, YouTube.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, YouTube.
Everyone say hi, YouTube. I don't know if you're catching the Twitch chat, but everyone say hi, YouTube.
Yeah, no. But yeah, we'll see what the next options are. See you guys later, maybe. I hope I don't die. Bye.
Bye.
Wow,
Okay, should we yell now?
Enjoy your night.
I guess
Enjoy
we're
your
yelling.
afternoon.
See you later.
Yeah. Ah.